Well, hey there, friends. It's a very tired Chris for the Wraith the Record podcast today. As tired as I may be, I definitely want to do one of these videos, an NMR, a new music review that I haven't done in a couple of weeks at this point. So I got 4 brand new songs to check out. I listen to them. I have opinions. I want to hear yours. That's how the show works. I don't want to waste too much time because of how tired I am, so let's just go ahead and get started. And as I drag myself over this way, this is where I remind you to go ahead and like and subscribe. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. It really does help what we do here on the channel. It gets us more views and recognition, everything like that. Very free and easy thing to do. Like, subscribe, you can share the content, leave comments too, because that's what the algorithm likes. So please do that. We really appreciate it. And now I can continue. So first up on the list today, we have the band Kittie, the heavy metal band out of London, Ontario, Canada, and they've just recently announced that they do indeed have a brand new album coming out this summer. They haven't announced a date at the point of me recording this, but it is called Fire. It's coming out this summer, as I just mentioned, and it will be their 7th project in the studio. They've already released the first single a couple of months back, which I did do a review for, but now they've just dropped the second single to go along with this new album announcement at the very least, and it's called We Are Shadows. Now, as compared to the last track that I reviewed, this one actually has a display of clean vocals, and that's on top of some very heavy, chuggy style of riffs. And I think the best display of that too is probably in the chorus when you get this excellent range for Morgan's vocals, backed with some great harmonies too, so everything just sounds like really good here. The song never really lets up either. You're always being driven by these low and heavy guitar passages and some really solid drum grooves to back it up as well. This is paced really well. I mean, it's fast enough to keep up the energy and the life of the song, and I think the flow overall is pretty uniform all the way through. Nothing really changed up about that, so it's actually pretty good. Overall, I'll say it's a pretty decent track. I mean, it's not anything that's looking to change the face of metal, but it's definitely a good, solid track, and I think that you should check it out. Next up on the list now, we have Sum 41. The Canadian pop-punk band just dropped their 8th and final studio album, Heaven and Hell, or it's stylized as Heaven X Hell, however you want to say that. And it was quite the undertaking too. I mean, this is a 20-song double album that they decided to do for their very final project, so you're getting a lot out of this one. And it makes sense that they just dropped their 4th single from this one. Don't be surprised if they drop more in the future, but this one is called Dopamine. If you're looking for an energetic breakup song, I think this is the one you've been after. This hits a lot of the pop-punk cliches and tropes right on the head. I mean, right from the tone, the pacing, the composition, and even the lyrics themselves. It's a pretty short to average runtime of a song, just being a little over 3 minutes long, so what you get in that time is actually pretty fair considering, you know, the band and style overall. It's all pretty straightforward and there's no real catch to it, but with that saying, it is indeed catchy. It's a pretty easy listen. There's no real effort in trying to get through this one, so it's pretty easy to get through, to be kind of redundant. Overall, I will say it's decent, not all that exciting, but it's definitely not a bad song. It's fairly run-of-the-mill, but you know what, it definitely works for what it actually is and for what it's actually presenting, so I'd say try it out, why not? Number 3 on the list today is the band The Church, the long-running alt-rock post-punk band out of Sydney, Australia, and boy, they've had quite the busy career, even lately. The band just dropped their 27th studio album at the end of March called Rosetta and the Perfumed Guitars. That's quite the title. And with that, the latest single just dropped very recently, and it's called Manifesto. Now, this one is really straightforward. I know I said the Sum 41 song was really straightforward, but this one is very straightforward. What you get in roughly the first 30 to 45 seconds is essentially the entire song, with the exception of the choruses, but even they follow the template pretty damn closely at that point too, so again, you're kind of just getting the same thing all the way through. This one has an almost dreary feeling sway to it, and it's not exactly dead on arrival because of that. It has some very highly processed acoustic guitars, and then it has a synth that's just kind of like swimming behind it that just really kind of keeps the atmosphere intact. And the vocals too, and the style that they're being sung definitely keeps up with that post-punk gothic style from the 80s, so it definitely suits everything that's going on in this atmospheric type of track. And overall, I can say that there's just not a whole lot to say about it because, I mean, there's not a whole lot going on in its 4.5-minute runtime. Now, realistically, I have to say that I actually like The Church. I like this style of music and everything like that. I love post-punk, the gothic style, new wave, dark wave, like everything that came out of that era. I really do like it. It's just very hard to review this kind of stuff, and I think that's kind of to the fault of my own for, you know, not being professional at this kind of stuff, as we always say on the podcast. But I mean, at the same time, I still like this song for what it is. It's just hard to review, and when you're trying to review it and pick it apart, there's not much to pick apart. This is a good song to have on in the background, so I'd definitely say check it out in that manner, which you probably would anyways. It's good in that respect, but when you're trying to find something new and exciting about it, there's not a whole lot, so take this review with a grain of salt and just enjoy it for yourself. Or you can always go back and listen to one of their older, bigger tracks, like Under the Milky Way, for example. That one's always popular. And finally on the list today, we have the band Metz, who is also back with a brand new album. The Canadian noise punk trio is actually set to drop the brand new album Up on Gravity Hill on April 12th, but I mean, I pre-ordered mine, got mine early in the mail. It's not even on Spotify when I'm recording this right now. I have the vinyl record though, so that's pretty damn cool. Anyways, yeah, this just came out, and in turn with this, they just released a brand new single called Superior Mirage. Now, I had said in one of my previous reviews of one of their tracks just not too long ago that it seems like they're stepping away from their noisier style that people have known them for, and I think this track kind of also amplifies that a little bit. Despite not being as noisy as previous works, I think the soundscape is still filled up pretty meaningfully through the production in this one, like through the three of them just being who they are. It sounds like a bigger band than that. There's like a lot going on in the sound. This track has a pretty easy and catchy flow to it, but it's definitely dipped in some psychedelic styling at varying points throughout the song as well. I mean, it's almost hypnotic with the lead guitar riff just kind of ringing on in each repetition that keeps coming in, and it comes in a lot in this song too, and just kind of keeps you entranced. Then the bridge just kind of adds to that psychedelic element too, so it's pretty interesting. Again, in looking back on Metz and everything like that and their previous works, it is definitely far more tame than what I would have listened to before, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I kind of like this direction that they're stepping in a little bit. They're kind of, I don't want to say they're stepping down, but they're just kind of getting more comfortable with songwriting as a whole now. I know some fans might say that's a bad thing. I wouldn't say it's a bad thing. I mean, some fans didn't like Atlas Vending, but I thought that album was amazing, so I'm just a different type, I guess. Overall, I will say that I do like the vibe of the song, I really do. I mean, it's spacey, but still somehow feels focused. I mean, it's catchy, but it doesn't necessarily feel that way either. I mean, I like it. I like the album because I actually have the thing and I've been able to listen to it before its official Spotify release date at the very least. I say check it out. And that's all I have for today's NMR, so thank you very much for tuning in, checking out these songs with me, and listening to me talk about them. But if you did indeed check out these songs, you know I want to hear your opinion. I always do, so let me know down in the comments below. Although, lately I've seen YouTube has changed a little bit, especially on the desktop platform. Apparently the comments are over here now for some people. I don't know. Wherever the comments are at this point, just go ahead and leave a comment. I will find them regardless. Doesn't matter where they are. I'm curious to know your opinion. I'm always curious to know your opinion because I don't want to be the only one talking about this. You need to be here too. This is the discussion I'm trying to create, you know? So please go ahead and do that. But aside from wherever the hell the comment section may be, an easy way to find absolutely everything is ratetherecord.ca. You can go over there and find a lot of stuff that belongs to us. Once again, that's ratetherecord.ca, where we have our streaming links, our social media links. You can find merch over there that I'm clearly not wearing now, but at the same time, you can find merch there. And hopefully there'll be new stuff soon. I have ideas in my head and I want to try to get them out, so hopefully I can. You can request an album for when the podcast does eventually come back. And there's something else. Oh yeah, Ko-fi, if you want to financially support the show. I mean, there's plenty of free and easy ways to do it, but if you feel like financially doing it, you can make a donation over on our Ko-fi page. All those links and everything else can be found at ratetherecord.ca. Now that we're at the end, I can give you a quick little schedule update in case that's what you're looking for. So obviously NMRs and live streams have been kind of interswitching with each other. So this week was an NMR, next week will be another live stream. So bi-weekly NMRs will be a thing now, and then live streams will be bi-weekly just to fill in the gaps and everything like that. So you can look forward to those. Another thing that you can look forward to is very soon, probably in the next couple of weeks. I can't say when, but hopefully in the next 2 to 3 weeks, brand new ILTS video. I'm currently scripting out at the point of me recording this, so it shouldn't take much longer. I should have it all scripted out. I can record it, get all the graphics I need for it, thumbnail, blah, blah, blah. Have that all done in a week or two. Hopefully it's out for you sooner than later, and I hope that you'll enjoy watching it. But that's all I gotta say. I'm incredibly tired. I need to edit this now, even though I really just want to go to bed. But this is me doing this to myself, so don't worry about it. So one more time, thank you very much for joining me, and I hope to see you again on whatever I release next. So until then, go listen to some awesome music. Take care, friends.